Had a chance to be on the lakes in this part of Tennessee, and there's also parts of West and Middle Tennessee where there's lots of boating as well. If you've been there, you probably noticed the Asian carp, which have invaded those waters.
Yeah, TWRA says it's an invasive breed, and they can also be dangerous to boaters and water skiers. Channel 3 meteorologist Nick Austin spoke to agency officials about what they're doing to keep the carp at bay and keep them from spreading here into the Tennessee Valley.
For decades, Asian carp have been a major nuisance for wildlife agencies across the South, including TWRA. Fisheries manager Mike Jolly says the fish eat microorganisms that native species depend on for nourishment.
The bighead carp and the silver carp are filter feeders, and they take out critical plankton in the reservoir that our young game fish need.
Even some adult native fish need to feed on this plankton, but they're not just battling the Asian carp for food, they're fighting for space.
And they can acquire great numbers and really get into some localized areas and really become too numerous for the game fish to really thrive in there like they would have.
Not only are they a threat to native fish, but they're also dangerous to people out on the lakes. Adult Asian carp can weigh on average 60 to 100 pounds depending on the species, and they love to fly.
They can come 8 feet out of the water and really become flying torpedoes.
Asian carp were brought to Arkansas in the early 1970s to get rid of excess algae and aquatic vegetation. By the early 1990s, flood events had washed the fish into the Mississippi River and eventually into Kentucky and Tennessee. Even though in the volunteer state, Asian carp are only found in West and Middle Tennessee waters, TWRA is working with other agencies to keep them from spreading into East Tennessee. Asian carp are very sensitive to certain frequencies, so this fall an experimental sound barrier will be set up at Barkley Dam in Kentucky.
If there's a sound barrier created there by an underwater loud sound at the frequency that would disturb those fish, it'll prevent them from wanting to go through those locks.
TWRA has also been working with commercial fishermen to reel in as many carp as possible. Jolly says recreational fishermen can also help. Juvenile Asian carp look like shad, which are often used for bait. Don't get them confused and take them somewhere else.
My advisement would be not to even move, any kind of bait like that if possible.
That was Nick Austin reporting. Jolly says it's illegal to move any live species of Asian carp in the state of Tennessee. The TWRA is also tagging them with sonic transmitters, trying to study them, and they're encouraging carp-only fishing tournaments.